let's look at the Kimura first because it's a great entry into the hip bump. Know that when you're in the closed guard, that your hands should be on the chest, on the hips, on the gi, and that you should not place your hands on the floor here. This is not a good place to put them. So Marty does something dumb. He puts his hands on the floor, but realize if you're good at this, you can always use your legs to pull forward at the same time as you clear the hands. Once the hand's on the floor, I'm going to make a little bit of space, get some control of the wrist. I'm going to open my legs. I'm going to move my hips away. I'm going to come up and around the arm. One of the problems that I see or hear is I don't feel like I can get over top of the arm. And that's because a lot of times you'll keep your legs closed. You have this fear that when you open your legs, they're going to pass. And so you always do everything with your legs closed. That's really great, but what you're going to find is opening your legs and doing almost a little bit of a technical stand-up from your elbow will allow you to get a deeper bite onto that wrist. Does that make sense? So again, his hands on the floor. I like to arch, make space. Don't elbow your partner in the face. I'm coming here. Lift your hip, turn your chest in, connect your wrists together. Now I want this hand to come off the floor. The next problem that I see is that people push with their hands. If you push with your hands, it's going to be really easy to defend, and I'll show you in a few minutes what I'm talking about. So to get that hand off the floor, what I want you to do is I want you to move your hip through that hand. Now, before I hike this leg up, because he'll grab the back of my leg, I want you to bring the knuckles to the spine, then bring the leg up, and then there's your finish, okay? So again, up, open the legs, almost like a technical stand-up, up and around. Don't push here. Watch, I'm going to stiff leg, take my back towards the floor, push my hip out to the side, cut the angle, different angle. Got it. I'm up and over. Can't get that hand. Hip to the outside, angle change. One more. Watch how my hip goes here, right? See how my hip came up? Control. Now my hip all the way to the other side. Let's take a look at that, and then we'll start looking at the defense to it, and then how that leads into the hip bump and the low hip bump. Let's get it. 1, 2. With how that hip is moving, okay? If I hit my hand on the floor and he starts to enter, desperation, he starts to move that, relax. A lot of times people will come up here and grab the inside of their own thigh. This is not a good defense. It's not bad, but no one wants to do this. Some things have gone wrong for you to try to defend a Kimura like this. And if you try to finish by pushing into the thigh, it's never going to happen. So this stiff leg, that stiff leg becomes really important in rocking the hips. So if I come here and I get to this and he's controlling, that leg is stiff, but relax. The pressure isn't this. The pressure that breaks it is my hip pulling it outside of his knee here. So I need this leg to be stiff, and you can't do it from your elbow. It's not going to happen. You have to extend your back and then move that hip to the outside. Does that make sense? All right, let's get 3-4 more minutes of this. Let's have a good training partner. If you want to grab the inside of your thigh like people do, you can do that because it'll force you to move your hips the right way. Let's get it. 1, 2. Sometimes I go against other really big, really strong people, and even though I have leverage here, sometimes I can't get the hand out from inside the thigh. And it's because they're fighting like their arm depends on it, because it does. If their hand comes out, I'm going to get them. So, a version of the hip bump that I have used so many times in my life, I come here and I can't extend my hip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let go of his wrist, and I'm going to grab his wrist with my hand. You see? That allows me to turn my chest more towards the floor, and then you'll be able to hit the hip bump nice and easy. A lot of people that are in this position, they won't even feel that the grip has changed because it went from your wrist grabbing their wrist and yours here. When you go like this, it's still a hand grabbing their wrist. They won't be able to anticipate a lot of times the extra chest turn that you get, and this is very high percentage. Again, right, his hands, my hips, I open, I commit it, I can't get it, right? I let go, control, hip bump. Different angle. Oh, you got me. Make sense? I kill people with this. What's up? Was that you good? All right, let's get it.
4 points.
Yeah, I know. Ready? 1, 2. It's up, right? I bring my hand to the inside. He tries to bring it through. Right? No, Kimura. He tries to get the Kimura, and I'm too heavy. Right? So then he switches off the grip, and he starts to come up now. As his hips start to come forward, I realize what's about to happen, and so I don't want to get swept, right? And so as he's coming up, what a lot of times I'll do is I'll push forward, but what you'll notice is I have to leave my legs behind, especially if I have active toes. I push, it's hard to create forward pressure, that's good. It's hard to create forward pressure and keep the inside of my thigh, right? So when he's coming up, I drive, my legs have to stay stationary, but if I'm going to use my upper body to push him back, that's when I separate. And the cool thing about this is the arm is locked and it's not coming out, so we'll just go right back to the Kimura, and their leg is far from their hand, right? So I go 1, 2, I get control, I can't get here. I come here, and when he starts to drive forward, now I still arch my back, then I'll go back to the wrist. So keep that grip. That's why I was saying for you to keep that grip. That extension will pull the arm and wrist away, and you see how my leg is stiff? Now his leg can't come back up. And if his leg can't come back up, he can't go back to that bad defense, right? So I'm here, I can't get it. I come here, he pushes. I'm here. Take that hand somewhere. Then take the hand right back over to the Kimura. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So these play really well with each other. That's what I want now. First one, the assisting student grab the inside of their thigh. Switch to the hip bump, right? You do the tie off, you come up, don't get hip bump to push into him. Then the person that's practicing go back to the Kimura. Make sense? Let's get it. 1, 2. Line of defense and not getting Kimura'd is do not place your hand on the floor, right? Like really hard to get Kimura'd from here, but I'm also a realist. Sometimes I get base checked, my hand goes to the floor. Sometimes I'm fat and tired, and I'm like, oh, I'll just rest here. Not a good thing to do, but sometimes people do that, right? So my hand's on the floor. I have missed the first line of defense. The second line of defense, he starts to come up and Kimura that. I'm like, no, sir. I rip my hand off the floor. But today's lesson, they're getting into the Kimura, right? This is, oh man. So when I'm here, there is a line of defense that everyone misses, okay? Everyone wants to jump straight to this, but that's only the defense. Relax, don't move. Yeah, you can let go. That's only the defense if the hand can come underneath my shoulder. So realize that the Kimura is a relationship between the wrist, the elbow, and the shoulder, and most of the time they want to pull the elbow out of alignment with the shoulder and the wrist. Are we all on the same page? So when Marty starts to grab this, a lot of you are trying to pull your hand up, can't do it. What I want you to do is I want you to scoot back, and I want you to extend your arm and drop your shoulder. If you can get your shoulder low enough, he won't be able to Kimura here. Push on the hand, push on the hand. And what I want you to do is I want you to feel it out. So you're going to come here, right? My hand goes to the floor. He starts to enter. I'm going to move my body back, and I extended my arm. Did I push the floor away? No, I'm not that strong, guys. I can't push the floor away. I brace on the floor, but I move my body back and drop my shoulder. Once I get here, try to finish the Kimura. Can't do it. You can walk your hand closer into his body. Go ahead and do it. Now he's definitely not going to do it. And I'll walk more. Yeah, you don't want it anymore. So that's what we're going to do. I'm here. Uh-oh. He got me. I move my hips back. Try to get it. Oh, it's kind of weak there. I'll walk my hand in closer to his body. If he doesn't let go, you can reach underneath here and grab his forearm, then you can drive into him and his life will fall apart. Okay? So get it once more from this angle right here. He got me. Uh-oh. My hips are back. Watch my hand. I'm walking it in close to his body. He didn't let go. Forearm in. Then I'll drive into him. Or hand into his forearm. That make sense? Let's give it a shot. 1, 2. All right. I'm exhausted because I'm doing the moves that I teach you guys all the time. So if you're not sweating like this, man, you really ain't training. Getting out of breath is good. Doing it while you're tired is good. Fitting the moves in reality is good. Everything else is just, it's not real, right? You got to practice it for real in order for it to be yours. So you should sweat, train, come watch my videos, then sweat, train, come watch my videos.